Greetings, listeners. As a friendly heads up, the audio gear in the studio began to act up a little bit during the recording of this episode. It has since been fixed, but for the next couple of episodes, there was some lesser quality audio to be expected. Pardon our rust. I am your host and game master this evening, Zach Barrett, and welcome to the Twisted Gear Studios production of Spacers, our Starfinder actual playcast. Last we left the crew, they successfully escaped the raid on the Aslanti Star Empire colony ship Bermuda with their bounties in tow. On their way to the prison station Purgatory to claim their bounty, they did some research into the data the Seven were collecting from the colony ship. Their target seems to be a mysterious and ancient solar system that wasn't there yesterday, yet today is.
Greg's asleep in the pilot chair.
Aren't you supposed to be driving right now?
I'm in the drift, though.
Oh, don't you drive in the drift?
Was I supposed to be driving this whole time?
The ship very, very, very nearly comes into contact with a massive floating bit of torn asunder plane of ulterior existence, and it kind of vibrates you awake in your chair, Greg.
Oh!
I kicked Greg's chair. What the heck are you doing? Fly! Fly the ship! That's like...
Isn't that what it's already doing?
No.
Like, we're airborne. Wait, there's no air in space. We're like spaceborne.
What does that even mean? Just don't crash.
And I look out the window at the drift and around. I was like, I don't know if there's anywhere I could actually do that right now.
There's actually several pockets of like remnant and torn apart.
Oh yeah, but
existence.
Greg doesn't consider that something he can crash on.
Oh, fair enough. That makes sense.
I kick your chair again and then just stalk off.
Yeah, so Flinch is just leaning against the entranceway door, polishing up his Aslanti wrench. It's such a useful little item. Where are we actually drifting to? Like, seriously, where are we going?
I thought we were going back to the base.
Is that where we're going?
Honestly, I don't want these criminals near us any longer than they have to. I think we should take them straight to Purgatory.
Oh, this is that guy we were trying to negotiate with?
Yeah, he's the one who wanted these two vices or fruits or whatever.
I don't like him.
Yeah, he's...
Nobody likes him.
I don't trust any part of him, but for now, that's what we have.
Oh, it's weird. We got Greed's lust, but I don't feel any more lusty than usual.
Let's stop talking about your lust, Greg. Let's just leave it alone. We've had this discussion.
I just get this really
We'll leave
disturbed
it alone.
look on my face.
You've had this discussion before?
I don't want to
Greg
know.
asks lots of questions.
How do you learn that? You know what? We're not getting into this argument again.
I'll give you the picture book again later. So...
Did we, just as a reminder from last time, did we contact the captain to...
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we got more money, because I didn't get...
No, we contacted, that's from Jovac.
Oh, we didn't talk... Oh, yeah, we did
Did
not
we,
talk
did
to
we,
Captain.
did we message the inaugural heap?
No, we haven't.
Okay.
So, something else that has popped into my mind, and I've been sleeping a lot, and somebody's been at my baguettes. But, like, is this a democracy? Or, like, is there a captain? Is like, do we get a say on where we're going? Is this like a vote thing? Or is somebody just gonna say where we're going?
Do you have another option that you would like to...
Well, it's one or the other. I mean, I just want to know
We
who...
work for Captain Fair.
Okay, so
Yeah.
but like on the ship now, is anyone's voice worth more than anyone else's?
Well, mine's worth more than yours.
Where have you stashed your prisoners right now?
They're in a storage room, are they not? They're
Tied up with duct tape.
empty storage room.
Is it close to the hall? Are you having this conversation in the bridge, or are you having this conversation in your mess hall?
In
I
the
think we're on the bridge.
bridge. Yes, we just spoke out.
On bridge, because I was
Don't worry
asleep.
about it. Just curious.
Okay.
I don't like that.
What would you prefer to do? Do you have an opinion on where we go?
I just don't know. Do we get to choose if it's a democracy or if somebody is just gonna tell us? I just don't know.
Do you want someone to tell you what to do?
No, I mean we
You
can.
ask a lot
But I
of
mean, I
questions.
just my main point is this. Greg's gonna, if it's a democracy, Greg gets the same say as everyone else, right?
I suppose suppose so.
Yeah, so I vote for democracy. It's funnier.
All of this conversation was so that you could make sure that Greg causes more problems in our discussions.
Greg's great.
Would it help if I said I already put in the coordinates for, like, that space jail or whatever it was?
Purgatory, yes, that's where we were going. You're going to Purgatory. I understand why democracies sometimes don't work out. Please, just get us to Purgatory.
You gonna call Captain Fair and let her know? Because, I mean, like, as much as I want to get rid of these guys, I also don't want to get kicked out of the job that I've only had for like a week.
We can give her a call.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I don't have another job right now. So, I want to keep this one.
This is the longest job I've ever had.
Why am I working with you?
Because you had no choice.
I think Greg is the best pilot we have.
He's the only pilot we have.
I mean, he only crashed to a planet once that I know of.
He crashed into my bay. I watched you do it.
Well, that's not a planet, though.
It's far more expensive. Speaking of which,
Than a planet.
It's far more expensive to me. By the way, you owe money to the heap.
Oh, speaking of hitting things, hang on 1 second. And you see Greg turns around and puts a foot up on like one of the steering mechanisms and just kind of like leans the ship to the left a little bit, dodging a sizable piece of debris.
You guys feel and hear the giant sizable piece of debris just flies by the ship as Greg steers away with it with his feet.
I take a deep breath, and then I go to the command dock or whatever, and I call and I dial up. Dial up? I don't.
You pick up the space phone.
Yeah,
The space
I
phone.
pick up the
and,
sci-fi
Don't use
space
the phone.
and I call.
Mom! Sorry.
And I call the captain.
Okay, so you dial up Captain Argus. She pops up on the screen. She seems to be in the middle of having just wrapped up a meeting in the bridge of the heap. Yes, Diantha, how's it going?
We've successfully captured a few of the required people.
A few?
Yes, we
I thought
managed.
he asked you to get one.
We got lucky. We managed to get two in the same place, so we were able to subdue both of them.
I hope you've convinced him to pay you more than just for one.
Don't worry, that's already been handled.
Well done.
We just wanted to check in and make sure you knew our current status. We're on our way to Purgatory right now.
Well,
Space
that makes
jail.
sense to me. It's probably best to get rid of your cargo as best as possible. The 7, this isn't the first time they've been caught, but it will be the first time they make it to Purgatory if you get them there. So I would offload them as soon as possible.
Understood. We'll head there right away.
Because Flinch is making noise, I like cuff him on the back of his head.
Uh-oh.
Roll damage.
He's not gonna roll any damage, it's fine. He's out cold.
Does your elbow actually meet? Does his head meet your elbow? Like,
I have to reach
have to
down.
lean down.
She just
The
flicks for the
elbow.
wrist and ow.
Okay. Is there anything you wanted us to discuss or bring up when talking to
The warden?
the warden?
No, I offered your services as one of the 4 crews at my disposal to help him out with a couple of things in the verse. So, if he thinks that there's more that you can do, absolutely. But please keep in mind that it is more of a favor and less of indentured servitude. Don't feel beholden to do whatever he asks. I told him that your tasks were to be limited, as you are still ultimately my crew. And you have a sense of authority, and if you ever feel like he's taking that from you, you just come and talk to me, and I will put him in his place.
Understood. But I am more than capable of putting people in their place if needed.
Glad to hear it.
me too.
Speaking of which, how has that been going with those 3?
They're still alive,
Yo.
despite their best efforts.
What?
She kind of
We'd be dead if it wasn't for me.
Greg likes keeping himself alive. Sometimes other people do, but mostly himself.
Sometimes?
Well, sometimes people don't deserve to be, like, I'm not having this argument.
Yes, it sounds very much like the case.
I think what Greg is trying to say, I speak Greg, what he's trying to say is, you all suck.
You suck.
Then Flinch turns around and just leaves.
My head is just in my hands and shoving my temples. Just
I pick up like a little. I don't know. Is there? I'm trying to think of what I could pick up. What's nearby here?
Greg.
It's true. I'm small enough you could actually pick me up.
The entire time Argus is just rubbing her temples, kind of occasionally looking at the screen, being like, oh god.
I go over to the station that Flinch was occupying and go through the drawers and stuff and take out the last piece of baguette that he was keeping in there.
Damn it, he was probably keeping it there.
When you go back to see it later, just be aware it's not there anymore.
I think goodbye.
Just she makes it like as you close she like and then it turns off.
We need to make some kind of rules for when we're talking to somebody else.
I'm still staring after Flinch, and then I just kind of look at Greg and I'm like, how do you two do anything?
Greg has one large cheek right now. You mean like anything at all?
I don't even know, and I walk away.
We're going to need to establish a sort of rule set for using communication services because that was awfully.
I agree. I really should have a box that I'm standing on when I talk to everyone.
Ideally, you aren't seen at all, to be honest. What are you eating? Where did you...
I'm not eating anything. And you see him swallow, and then this piece of baguette just slowly goes down while he's looking at you.
Eating like a duck. Roller.
I'm going to the mess hall. And Greg leaves the bridge. And the ship is still in flight.
Damn it, that's where Flinch is.
Oh. I stand there shocked looking at all of the rubble just like flying past. I just grab the steering device? I don't know how to
Don't forget that his feet have been on it.
As you grab the steering, the sticks for the command unit, as you grab it, you slowly release your hand and look at the grime that is now on it. And reconsider every decision you've ever made.
I remove my flesh hand and I just use my prosthetic instead. And I will wash my prosthetic tonight separately and completely.
While she's not looking, Greg quickly comes back in and he's wiping down the steering mechanisms with a little rag that he then stuffs into his snack pocket. The little pouch that he's got.
Somehow the counter gets dirtier.
Oh, yeah,
why aren't you driving right now?
You fall out of drift at that very moment.
Because we're here!
Greg, there are certain standards for when you're on a ship and when you're the pilot, and usually the base, lowest level of standards is that you drive the ship you are supposed to be driving.
You'll have to forgive me. Being on a ship with Flinch is really my only frame of reference, and that's not really a frame of reference at all.
Do you not fly the plane? No, the ship usually, or... You're a pilot. Do you not pilot?
So Flinch comes over the comms. Because he always has, in this exocortex, the comms open. Yeah, did we just drop it adrift?
Yes.
Well, where are we?
I would assume we're at purgatory now, right?
Assuming is wrong.
You can see outside the window that in place of the purple void that is the drift, you see a massive gas giant, as is familiar for where you last saw the purgatory station. And sure enough, in June's synchronous orbit of this gas giant are several moons and the space station purgatory. So
Space jail.
So you go in, you talk to in flight. You talk to the landing commissioner. They allow you to land in the same dock as before. You go on down. In place of last time, when you arrived last time, there was a couple of guards waiting for you. In this instance, as they're familiar with your ship, there's a couple of guards that are still there, but not standing in preparation for your ship. They're kind of just, they seem to be on standard patrol. But there does seem to be a creature that looks a lot like, for those who are listening, it is a Riforian that is standing on the dock. They are a rather slender, orange-colored individual that is wearing what looks like some kind of a standard medical uniform, but with a couple of personal aesthetic tweaks to it. And they kind of sit there with they're standing there waiting with their fingers touched together, hands together, not fingers crossed, but just standing ever so patiently and waiting for your arrival.
Yo, Dantha, or I was shouting and then I just turned on the comm, so that sounded everything. Everyone, do we have a paper bag or a cloth or something that we can blindfold these guys with? Because I don't want to put duct tape over their eyes.
I have some cloths in my pouch.
Awesome.
No.
I also wouldn't mind the duct tape.
We can just put like black bags over their head.
Do we have black bags?
I'm sure I can scrounge some up somewhere.
Cool. Bring them to the closet. We've got them hidden in. We'll blindfold these guys before we take them anywhere.
Can Flinch find 2 bags to cover over their head that they want to suffocate on if I go too tight?
That Greg hasn't already put something in.
I was just gonna say, you know what? Just humor me. Roll a perception check. Humor me.
All of the things are safe.
Flinch just rolled a natural 20 on his perception check.
You find that, there's a room, there's a couple of closets that are connected to the main mess hall, one of which you have stored your, unfortunate prisoners to, whom are fully conscious at this point. So you open that door, see them looking at you, and automatically close the door very quickly. You move on to the next closet, where it seems Greg has stashed a lot of really dirty, used bags and rags, like paper bags and rags. Figure, there's probably a diamond in the rough here somewhere. And you look, and at the bottom of the pile, wedged into the back behind one of the metal empty containers, Greg was not able to find what seems to be a box filled with unused plastic bags.
Plastic bags? Yeah, as long as we don't put it tight, they'll be fine. Can you do, you can't see through.
You can see shapes, but you can't see, they're opaque, yeah.
That's fine. That's good enough for him.
Just pop like a breathing hole in it, and there you go.
Just won't go tight. Yes, I'll pop a breathing. So Flinch grabs those and he heads, plastic bags. And I open up the door to where they are.
I'm standing behind them, pointing my gun at them.
There we go. Am I by myself? No.
I think wow.
Okay, guys, now try not to kick up a fuss. I'm just gonna put these plastic bags over your head.
We bringing them out first, or we going to talk to that person?
Well, maybe a couple of us should stay here with them, and then a couple of us should go.
I think we should bring them with us.
I got it.
Who's all got guns trained on them?
Me.
I do.
I don't know, I got bags.
2? Okay. So as you open the doors, 2 have guns. Greg stands there watching, laughing, and Flinch is preparing to put bags on their heads. They survey the area as they open the door, and the one of them goes, "Oh, only 2?
Only 2?
Looking specifically at the ones with guns.
Yeah, from how they're sitting, can I see if they're still bound?
I'll say
fine.
they are absolutely, they are still bound. They are exactly as you left them.
Okay.
Shut up. I hit him.
Hopefully not Flinch.
4.
Laurel does what she does best.
4 there, Laurel.
Oh, the
3.
3?
The bite.
You see a bit of a bruise forming on the side of his head, and you have the back of the buddy. You're going,
Okay, well, I'll go over and just
bag him.
bag them. Yeah.
Right? You bag to it, you pop a breathing hole, and you're like, sure.
Dee, why don't you ask that guy out there if he knows what we're supposed to do with these pieces of garbage?
My name.
No?
And
I mean,
then
it could call them something other than pieces of garbage. I just
No,
don't
that-
know
my name. I
what to call
will.
them.
I will.
Yeah, you gotta get the
Where do we
faces
take 'em?
right.
Greg, would you mind getting the door for us while we escort these 2? Since you don't have a gun on them or anything.
I guess so. I'm tall enough to reach the button, right?
I would say that with a nice little hop, you can absolutely just.
I do have a reaching stick.
Yeah,
So,
it's carved.
Yeah. So
It's a
I'll
birthday
I'll
present.
use
Jeez.
I'll use the reaching stick that Flinch gave me.
Dink. Yep,
Says-
fair enough.
It says F plus G forever, BFF forever.
Oh my
And
God.
Flinch didn't put that there, just to be clear.
Just to be clear?
Yeah.
Well, that's good to know, I suppose.
okay. Yeah, I'll open the door.
Alright, so you open the door and turn it down the base of the ramp. It seems in the time that it's taking you to bag your prisoners and bring them to the door, the Riforian is still standing there. And you notice that there's, now that you can see his face, there's a bit of a dead stare to his face. It's oddly unsettling, but since in your time of taking care of this, Jester Brash has joined them, the halfling hobbit individual that is the chief of security for Purgatory. You met very briefly on your initial arrival here.
What was the name, sorry?
Jester Brash. He was only in your presence when you first arrived and were in the hangar bay, and handed you off to his guards that took you up to see the Warden. There's Jester with this Riforian down at the base of your ramp waiting.
We added 2 new members of Purgatory here.
Ah, yes, well, it sounds about right. Well, this is, and the Riforian steps forward, and there's like this weird floaty motion to everything that this individual does. Hello, my name is Kortaska. And he reaches a very, very strange shaped hand out to shake whoever is willing to grab his hand and shake it.
Greg is.
Of course.
Grab it, and he doesn't flinch at all when you grab his hand with the grime that is on your hand and you shake it. And as whatever speed in which you go to shake his hand, he maintains a constant, steady, floaty motion with his handshake and then retreats it back to his clasped position. I am head of, for lack of a better term, acquisitions on the Purgatory for the Warden. I hear you have 2 new inductees into his collection.
They're right here, and I'll jam my gun into the back of them.
Please come this way. The Warden will like to speak to you, but if you would be interested in escorting them with me, I will not oppose the company, but we will have to go down into the bowels of the station first.
Maybe want to go on a field trip, or do you want to just get down to business?
I want to see what they do with these guys.
At which point, if anyone looking in the direction of Jester's just like, yeah, I ain't going down there. That place is creepy.
We should work here.
Yeah, here, on this floor, not in the lower floors. It gets creepy.
Creepy
Very
how?
creepy. He kind of leans up to you. Have you seen the Riforian standing next to me? I heard that, Jester.
If
Yeah, it
just
sounds
in case
pretty
you
creepy. Yeah, it seems a bit creepy.
Do you? I don't care either way. You said you wanted to go.
Do you need the extra? Do you need the extra muscle?
Oh no, I don't need the extra muscle. I just always appreciate good company. There's not many people to talk to in the lower levels.
I got an idea.
I already don't like it.
Democracy. I think Greg and I, Flinch, should go down to the bowels. Yes, for conversation and other stuff.
You know a lot about bowels, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. What do you mean?
None.
Okay, listen, Scales. You and the face go with...
My name is Diane. I've said this numerous times.
Yeah, the face. You know, face, because you're, the talker. You, the Scales and the face will go with, I guess, Jester?
You want us to...
Then you're going to the Warden, right?
Yes.
And me and Greco go to the bowels.
You don't have a gun.
And On my back is a laser
Oh,
rifle with
okay.
a sniper scope.
Jester kind of puts up his finger and goes, "Oh, wait, if you're going to the battles, you're still going through security, and I am still going to have to take your weapons, just as an,
Well,
Like-
Oh, yeah.
we can just leave it on the ship.
Well, if you don't want me touching your guns, which I'd be touching your guns, so if you don't want me to,
Yeah, it's a little
fine.
bit unstable.
Leave them on your ship, whatever.
It's a little bit unstable, just a little bit. How about I tweaked it a little?
Mine's a little sticky, but I'm not really sure why.
Probably because of your filthy hands.
I'm gonna like talking to this
He
person.
does look very blunt.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, let's split up. That always works out.
And then Greg just starts sucking on like his first finger.
Whatever.
Okay, everyone give me their weapons. I'll bring it back onto the...
No.
Absolutely not.
Then I guess they're coming with me.
That's fine.
No, you can take mine. And I pull out my survival knife and go to toss it to you.
Throw a dice?
Jester does this, just shakes her hands together. Oh, this can only end well. Roll a dexterity check, please. Greg?
Well, I'm just gonna go back on the ship and store my weapons in my room.
I got 15. I rolled an 11 on the dice, and my modifier is +4.
Oh, dang. In that case, Flinch, roll a dexterity, a sleight of hand check.
Can't. You can't do sleight of hand unless you actually have it as a class skill. You can't do it on train.
Yeah.
Just do a basic dexterity. Let's just do a dexterity check.
Okay.
I guess that makes more sense in this
11.
aspect anyway.
11.
11. With as good a roll as Greg made, Greg throws the knife up in the air. Flinch kind of looks at it like, oh god, is this gonna... you step back and you catch it on its way down. Ta-da! Catching it by the handle, not by the blade. You're not that cool.
Not yet.
With 11, it's not that cool.
And then as he's celebrating that victory, I throw my gun at him and hit him in the face with it.
Roll a d4!
1.
Damage, take 1 point of damage.
He takes it. Yes, Greg, let's go to the bowels. And I just quickly run into the ship. and
Yeah,
put
so
away
everybody
the
stores their guns within the meteor itself.
weapon. Quick question.
Yeah.
Do they have, like, scanners for weaponry here?
Last you recalled, it's basically, airport security. Think like airport security.
Okay.
There's like a conveyor belt of trays where they scan
Sure.
your stuff. There's a detector you walk through, some plexiglass doors that swing, like the whole kit and caboodle. And then similar to what you find, like you guys watch Serenity, where the bar they had like the gun lockers that roll
Yeah.
up to the side.
Nope, I did not sneeze.
Yes.
And once you've gone through, that's kind of the area where they'll get you to stash your stuff. And they'll give you a key, but they have your stuff. But they are also okay with you leaving it on your ship, because your ship's under lock and key until you leave.
Okay, cool. As I go back onto the ship to store my weaponry, is it possible to do a computer's check to try to tap into their comms?
You'd have to physically connect with their computer system. But if you can, and that one, if you can make a sleight of hand check, I'll have to roll a check to see you, but then you can try and roll
Only
a check.
like a few characters get sleight of hand. Like
Yeah.
Specific.
Well, that's what I mean, right? So if you can't sneak your way to a system, then I would roll to see if I can see you, and then it's a matter
Oh,
of
that's stealth. I'm pretty good at stealth. Yes, I'll worry about that later in the bowels.
Yeah, it depends on the situation. Yeah, it really depends on prying eyes and stuff, right? Up here, yeah, you have to do some handy hand work to get to a computer
Handy
system.
hand work.
I had no other terminology. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
So I come back out. So we're all good with this, yeah?
That's fine.
Well, you don't want us there talking to the warden anyway, I'm assuming.
Well, I could offer my services for that. And I'll look at Deantha. I mean, if you want me there to do the negotiating, I'm okay with that.
You guys can go to the bowels, that's fine.
And you officially
You
spend
shouldn't
the
be so happy you're about to go into the bowels with a goblin.
So we'll go back and forth between the two parties for the first little bit, but right out the gate we're going to start with Deantha and Laurel, who are going up with, this time, Chief of Security, or the head jailer Jester is going to be with you, and is going to go up the elevator with you, and you guys will go through security first. Kotaska, Grek, and Flinch will go on the elevator second, going down to the bowels of purgatory. When you put it that way, it sounds terrible. And, well, you'll find out.
Oh, it doesn't really sound that great even before that.
So, starting with Diantha and Laurel. On your way up the elevator, again, similar views as before. The majority of the elevator ride itself is a nice glassy view of all the different layers of prison cells and their honeycomb-shaped forms. Lots of white. It's always strange to see how shiny and clean this place often is kept, until finally you get to the top of the visible layers, and now you are in a black plexiglass area that just shines but is completely not visible or seen through until you reach the top, in which it opens up to a singular hallway that goes down with again the consistent black plexiglass look of everything, with the occasional windows that are disguised in with the black walls. And as you go down this hallway, you can see into the highly treasured cells of the bigger prisoners here. A cross-section hallway that leads into some of the lower cells that you guys recall having visited Jovac in your last attempt. As you approach the door at the end of the hall, which we know is the warden's cell, or the warden's office, the door opens well before the automated system should be recording you. And coming out of the office is a very, very well-dressed, white, armor-clad Kasatha with an insignia that's on the side. Can I get everyone, just the two of you that are there, Diantha and Laurel, just to roll me a culture check, please, the two of you.
14.
14. You both rolled 14?
I didn't actually roll a 14. I got a -1.
Well, your scores altogether equals 14.
Yeah.
You are both aware of what the symbol is. The symbol represents the Starfinder Society, one of the more well-known society of space explorers that represent the Pact Worlds in a very early capacity of exploration. Very rare to see one this far out, especially around a place as unlawful as Purgatory, but sure enough, a Starfinder Society member has exited the cell.
A regular uniform or dress uniform?
Neither. It seems very customed, shiny
Okay.
white, and just like I said, it is definitely a suit of armor, not a diplomacy suit, but you could easily be mistaken as a diplomatic uniform as well. The individual walks past you, heads on out, as if having just finished a meeting with the warden.
As I walk by, I'm just like, nerd.
And so you get on and go into the warden. Sure enough, you head on in. The portly Lashunta is kind of settling back into his chair again and sits back. Oh, yes. Some of my favorite people out in the West. So, how was it?
We did the job for you. You want to get paid?
You want to get
We
paid?
did more than a job for you. I mean, so, yeah. That's how it was. I try to look tough and I fail.
I'm not even going to get you to roll. He just looks at you. Uh-huh. And for the remainder of the conversation, he basically addresses solely you, Diantha, with the occasional glancing look at Laurel, being like, are you serious here?
I still think I look tough though.
So clearly this one is here just for security purposes.
I always think it's nice to have an extra set of ears in a room.
So, if I recall, our great arrangement was 1,500 credits for your little adventure.
It was 1,500 credits per capture. We did double what you were expecting of us, after all.
Ah, yes. I wouldn't say you did double the work, but I do like to pay for my collections. So, I believe it was 1,500 and some time with my lovely prize. Is that still of interest to you?
Yes, we will accept that offer.
Under my supervision, of course.
Of course.
What do you want to know from him?
Anything he's got to tell. He's gone to planets no one knows about. The knowledge that he's got is delicious, for lack of a better term.
There must be a better term.
You could say informative? Interesting?
Regardless, you have access to
words,
him.
delicious.
We're getting off task.
Huh.
You have access to him at all times. Do you not talk to him often?
Oh, I tried to, yes. He doesn't seem very interested in talking to me. Probably having something to do with being the one that's keeping him locked up for over 10 years.
Yeah.
But he seemed to really like the lot of you when you saw him last.
Well, we've got a charming face.
I wouldn't have put it that way. Personally. Maybe a different word.
You're the one who just used delicious.
We can talk semantics and vocabulary all day. We should focus on the business at hand. We would like our payment, please.
Would you like the wire directly to you, Miss Lark, or should I send it somewhere else?
We can take it for now. We can share it with the heap as we get back. But for now, it best be in our safekeeping.
Yes, I agree. So he pulls out a pad and he works some stuff up on the computer and he pulls out a data chit on the side, like one of those credit chits, and hands it over to you. You'll see 3,000 credits on there as agreed.
Fabulous.
Now, I am eager to hear what he has to say to you. He stands up and he kind of puts his hand underneath his desk and you hear like a click. And the same trophy cabinet as last time off to his right, teeters off to the side and revealing a nice staircase with ambient lighting on the sides that leads down to the lower cell behind him. You enjoy your conversation.
Most definitely. And I'll head over to the bookshelf.
And two of you hit down?
Yep.
All right. Greg and Flinch. You guys are on the elevator with Kotaska.
Okay, so before we leave, just as we're waiting for the elevator,
Yeah.
I just
no.
look around, and it's like me and Flinch and the
You are Flinch.
me and Greg
and
and what?
Kotaska is his name.
And Kotaska. Is there anyone else with us?
There's like a sentry secure, like a robot security guard.
Just one.
Oh god.
One that's close to you.
Yeah. Okay.
How far out are you?
No, but I mean, so I look at Kotaska and I'm like, so we're going down with these two vicious war criminals. And we got like one security guard. Maybe we should be armed just in case something happens.
I really doubt that they will need much more security than us.
But I got no weapons. And Greg's just got a gravy rag. And I bet more of my baguette.
If it'll make you feel more comfortable, and he does a motion with his hand, and a couple of guards come from within that. The hall, the security hall itself is about 35 feet in length, and the guards are outside within the hangar bay, and a couple more SRO droids come on forward. Do you feel like this?
No, that's fine. We'll just take the one guy. I mean, we should be fine. We'll just take the one guy. I mean, I just always felt more comfortable if I had something that I could stop these guys from escaping and killing us all. But yeah, no, we can just take one security robot.
Roll very high DC. Diplomacy check.
Yeah. Flinch's forte.
I'm just saying, you're trying, so rolling.
Greg's just looking at him with like that squinty-eyed look, and he's, just thinking.
One.
There are dung piles on Absalom Station that have more subtlety than you.
Yeah, well, that's part of who Flinch is.
If it would make you feel better, perhaps I can put you in cuffs and put you with them for a bit. I'm sure if you became friends with them, they will feel less inclined to hurt you.
Why don't we just go down there
Yeah, we'll
like
just
we were
go
going to
down.
normally? You guys are freaking me out.
Yeah, no.
I'm sorry, my social skills aren't very good. There's not many people to talk to in the bowels of the station.
I sweat when I'm nervous.
What's a social skill?
Ding! Doors open. You go into the elevator. So it's yourselves, Greg and Flinch, your two bounties, the Riforian, and an SRO droid crammed into this elevator, and the elevator begins to go down. in opposition to what you've seen before, there are a few white honeycomb floors that you can see out through as you head on down. Nowhere near as many on the way up, until finally it's dark and only lit by just only by the lights of the elevator itself. There are a couple of instances where you do see through. Some floors are open up, but you're starting to see lots of hard drives and like storage capacity, like technology that helps run the station itself, or at least its software infrastructure. And then you start seeing some stranger things, some hard drives and ethereal energy being transferred from one to the other, dark purples and black, almost like artificial starlight traveling from hard drive to hard drive, until finally pitch black again in an opaque tunnel for the elevator, and it slows and stops. The door opens up, and there is a long hallway that leads down towards, and again, similar to the hallway upstairs, where it's very, very architecturally, not very aesthetically pleasing. There's not a lot of detailing here, and it's very clean, methodical, straight hallway that leads down to a flat stone, or to a flat, it looks like a stone table or tablet at the end. And he begins walking down effortlessly down the hallway. And follow and push your guards with your bounties.
Yeah. So they'll have to.
So far, this isn't scarier than anything I might have seen in Absalom Station.
So I figure so. If he's leading, and then there's the 2 bounties, and then the security droid, because he's the only one with a weapon, so he should be directly behind those guys.
Mm-hmm.
And then
he takes up the rear.
And then flinching Greg will just sort of take up the rear. Oh, he takes up the rear regardless?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
This is a prison.
We're not prisoners.
This is a prison.
Space jail sucks.
What does it smell like down here?
I want you guys to roll me perception checks. Since I think they combine all the senses into one.
12 for flinch.
I only rolled a 5 on the dice, so I have 14 in total.
What the? Fair enough.
What? Greg is... He's basically like nostrils and a mouth that walks around and sometimes flies spaceships.
So as you guys go, there is an unsettlingly clean smell to this area. Unlike the rest of the station, like this is sanitized regularly. But that's not the unsettling part. You can't help but feel like you can hear screams and pleas and cries for help. And strangely enough, you know for a fact that you can't actually hear them, but somewhere in the back of your mind, you can hear cries for help. Hundreds of them.
Is this why they call it purgatory?
Do you know what purgatory means, Greg?
Flinch, I can't smell anything.
Oh God, purgatory. The first thing to go is the sense of smell I've heard.
No, I mean, it's not that I... That's not what I meant!
Really?
Sniff my hands.
No.
But...
Straight up no.
But...
And as this conversation's happening, the Riforian and the 2 prisoners have already made it all the way down the hallway, and you just hear a call from the end of the hallway, "Please join me or head on up, you're holding the elevator."
Oh, okay, and start trotting forward a little bit. I'm not smelling your hands. I'm not smelling your hands, Greg.
And the SRO behind you, sure enough, the elevator closes, goes on up. As you head to the end of the hallway in this walls, there's that similar familiar black plexiglass all around. It's white on the floors, and a lot of the light actually comes from beneath your feet and up towards the rest of the room. And he goes to the stone tablet and he begins, it's like a giant touch interface, if you will. "Please, if you wouldn't mind standing on the circles over there," motioning to the bounties, and they don't move.
Yeah, I take the bags off their faces.
And I'm like, the bags.
Okay. Go over there, you hosers.
Greg takes the bags from Flinch.
Alright.
Puts them away somewhere.
Quick question. I know you're busy and you're transporting them, but before you leave, why is there so many people screaming in my mind?
I'll answer that in 1 second.
Sure.
And he looks back to the prisoners, and instead of having the same calm demeanor as he's had before, it suddenly drops, and you watch as his eyes enlarge, and It feels like the room gets darker as he does this. I want you both to make will saving throws.
Oh my god.
Flinch is also bad at will saving throws.
That's some brain torture.
Surprisingly enough, you'd think I'd be better at
You're
at
better willpower
fortitude.
than I am.
I rolled an 11. I have 4 until, so 15 in total.
15?
And Flinch has a 13 total.
13, 15. As it's not directed to you, you don't feel a direct effect, but you feel like there is some mental effect happening here, as if the space itself bends itself to Kataska's will.
I said stand on the circles.
And as he does this, both of your bounties, their eyes glaze over gray, and they just move mindlessly onto the circles and stand there.
Greg puts an arm over and clenches it on Flinch's arm and says, "Flinch, he made me feel like I had insides."
Oh God. We know, listen, I've told you this before, Greg. Your insides are fine. It's, it's like feelings and stuff you don't have. Just instinct.
My instinct is we were not the right ones to come down here.
I can't believe.
But we came down because it's fun.
This is the first time I felt that bowels were a bad idea.
I peed a little.
Oh.
Just a smidgen. We'll be fine. He's gonna tell us why all the people are screaming in our heads.
And as the two bounties step on their designated circles, these plexiglass, two boom boom block go up on them, and they drop through into the floor, and the floor is closed. The tube goes, and they are now gone. And he then starts going through the system and kind of cataloging them, if you will. Apologies for that. I try not to let others see what my work entails. You had a question earlier.
Yeah, I okay, so I'm feeling like when we came into the hallway and stuff, that, oh God, there was hundreds of screaming voices or something, but I don't think I was hearing it with my ears. I think I was hearing it with my soul.
Oh, yes. Fuck. He just looks blankly at you. Oh, yes, it's because they aren't actually here to scream in this plane. And he keeps tapping on the screen and just lets you watch him.
Oh. I'll explain later, Greg. Maybe. Alright, how you feeling, Greg?
Like I need to use my bowels.
No, that's fine. What do you mean not this plane? What plane did you put him on?
Oh, well, you see, some criminals that come to purgatory, well, they don't have the currency known as lifespan available to offer for what deeds they've done to us, the living, and serve what we like to call an afterlife sentence.
Oh, that's twisted.
It is what it is.
You get paid a lot of money, don't you?
No.
Oh.
You just enjoy the work. Oh, man. And you say people don't generally talk to you?
Not often.
Do you know any good limericks? I'm trying to find something just quirky about you. What kind of hobbies do you have?
I find that my life is my work. And he keeps tapping on the screen. And I want you guys to roll one more perception check.
I can't believe the juxtaposition of what's happening leads to.
When you two said you were going, I was like, yes.
There once was a tall, creepy guy from Nantucket. We really need to get out of here. I can't even remember what I was rolling.
You have to roll a perception check, Greg. Get in the game.
Perception. I rolled 15 on the dice, and I have 9, so 24.
And Flinch has a 22.
Nice. As this conversation progresses, you realize your eyes begin to adjust to the room. The black plexiglass is not black plexiglass. They're windows. You are inside some black space, and as your eyes begin to adjust, you can see the undead spirits floating around within the space beyond this room.
I think I know that guy. They can't see us, right? Because I probably owe him about 20 credits.
Like if I dance, then Flinch sort of does this little Yosoki dance.
You
He's
see
like,
like
can they
this
see
big
this?
smile on the Riforian's face.
Can they see me?
Yes, they can.
Oh.
We need to go then, because I am
I think I
definitely
just-
certain
I
that I
feel
owe
bad.
him 20 credits.
I feel bad. I think I just tortured him a little more. Oh. Oh, man. So people don't come down here? This is... And you should sell tickets? I was at this haunted spaceship thing once, and it was awesome.
I would very much like to go.
Oh, would you like... You can come with us. I like them.
No.
Come on! Come on! You're not gonna come with us, though. You got it pretty good here, torturing the souls of the dead.
I just do what I'm told.
Oh, man, he's awesome.
But we may want to take you back up to the surface eventually. There's a reason why only mindless drones are my security down here.
Yes.
Apparently not many last long here.
Can we go now?
Oh, come on. Yeah, okay.
And I have plenty of work to do.
Okay, we'll go. Can I, like, sort of scan, or can Flinch, like, sort of scan through... Now, these spirits, are they in, like, the shape they were when they died, or are they just, like...
No.
Okay, that's my question.
No, they are not.
So...
Do you want to ask him more about it?
Yeah! I was like, yeah, before we go, like, why did they look like that? Whatever that is.
That scene from
To maintain, to ensure that their souls don't go to the land of the deity of their choice, their souls are trapped within a pocketed plane of existence held within the bowels of this station. So what you see are the mirrored forms of them being so close to the prime material plane, yet nowhere near any other planes of existence.
What do you call that plane?
This is truly purgatory.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Greg, we should go. You're awesome, though, by the way. I like you. We're gonna be great friends. I really like you. And we gotta go, Greg. We should go before whatever that mental stuff you said is gonna happen to us.
Roll another will check.
I just brushed his pencil from
So, Greg, I would like to say, took as his first feat jet dash, which means that if I run, I can run up to 6 times my land speed,
So when
which is 45 feet.
So Flinch, when you say, hey Greg, we should get out, you turn around, and Greg's already in the elevator, hit the button, you're like, I want to move!
It's like in cartoons when like they run, just the gas, like the dust form of them is remaining.
But you're still both in the basement, so I need both of you to roll will save.
No, this is gonna go poorly.
Flinch rolls a 12. Like, total of 12.
It's like that scene from Hercules where they're like in the atmosphere and it's just like...
Oh, that was almost really bad. I rolled a 14 on the dice, so 18 total.
Okay. So as you guys are still there, you notice that the screams are becoming kind of white noise and commonplace to you. Now you can straight up hear voices asking things of you, and the intensity is starting to increase of your immersion in this space.
No, I don't have 20 credits to give you, and
No,
he's
all he
just
has
pushing
is
on
my
the button.
baguette. And I run off to the elevator.
And as you go, Kataska is just standing at a station, just waving very eerily at you as the elevator doors close.
And as he's waving at me, I Flinch face back. We'll see you next time. Awesome, man. You're great.
The doors close. Greg looks at Flinch and goes, "Every idea you have is a bad one.
Yeah. Greg, we need to get out of here.
I need to change my pants first."
You don't wear pants.
I...
Yeah, you do.
Yeah?
Well, I wouldn't classify them as pants. They're more like skorts. I heard that word in the fashion district.
Do you know what a...
Do you know what a skort is?
Yes,
you
as
know
a
what
matter of
baguette
fact, I
is?
do. Know what a squirt is, but don't ask me why.
Oh, God. Okay, well, we're in the elevator. Is there anyone in here with us?
Yes, our own droid's with you.
There's that droid?
Yeah.
Oh. So I look up at him and it's like, oh. Where are we allowed to go?
Thank you for listening to this Twisted Gear Studios production. The next episode of Spacers will air Tuesday, June 25th. Until then, Tuesday, June 18th, is the next episode of The Call, our Call of Cthulhu actual playcast GM'd by Derek Snow. The game system used today was the Starfinder game system by Paizo. Music in this episode was licensed by Video Copilot. Sound effects and ambient tracks licensed through Triune Films, Video Copilot, and Sirenscape. You can find all of Twisted Gears' podcasts on YouTube, Google Play, Apple Music, and Spotify. Please like and follow the Twisted Gear Studios' Facebook page, and follow us on Twitter and Instagram at The Twisted Gear. Your players this evening were Janessa Coles, Lindsay Delansky, Derek Snow, Elizabeth Wells, and Bailey Yarkey. Your audio operator was Rob Hickey, and I was your host and GM, Zach Barrett. If you happen to be in the Fort McMurray area, you can find me at Tavern on Main every Monday at 7:30 p.m. for trivia. Have a good night, everyone, and we'll see you next time.